Okay, welcome to the next video mentoring session. Now I want to show you something you've probably either read about or you've heard about or maybe even you've seen before, but I want to refresh into your cerebral gray matter so that when you start picking your vital priorities, that you have this mental anchor in your head, okay? It's called the big rocks. So here's the demonstration. If I were to take this mason jar and we were to determine what are your most three vital priorities, and we say, okay, this is vital priority number one, and we stick this in the jar. Okay, now we've got it in. It's on the calendar, it's scheduled, it's chunked off, it's blocked. Then we decide this is vital priority number two, and we stick that appropriately on your calendar or in the jar. And then we say, okay, this is vital priority number three. Now, we put that in the jar. We make sure that there's still enough room to put the lid on. We have your three vital priorities, your three big rocks in the jar. Now, is that all that you can get in here? Can you put another big rock in the jar and be able to get the lid on? It doesn't look like it. Can you get anything more in the jar? Well, you can if you find some smaller rocks, right? So you could go in here and easily fit in more rocks in the jar. Look at all this stuff that you can add to your calendar if you so choose. Now, we can still get the lid on. Great. Is this all that you can get in here? Well, we can put more rocks in, certainly. And we could fill this all the way to the very, very top so that we can just barely get the lid on. Is that all that we can get in the jar? The answer is no, not if you go and get some sand and you put a little sand on top of your schedule, make sure that it filters in appropriately. Look at all this that you can still get inside this jar. All this other activity, all these other things that you could still accomplish, tasks that you can achieve, still fit inside here, and you can get the lid on. Is that all that you can get into the jar? No! Because you could still take water and pour it in. And look at all this that you could still fit inside the jar and still get the lid on. See, that's the key point. What is the key point? It's not, no matter how full your schedule is, if you try really hard, you can always fit some more things into it. That is not the lesson, okay? Here's what the lesson is. If you had started with a schedule that was already littered up with small rocks and sand, you'll note that you cannot get the big rocks in at all and get the lid on. You see? It doesn't fit at all if your calendar and your schedule gets littered with the small activities, the reactions, the responses to emails and texts and knocks at the door. Do you have a minute? And we want you to come to this meeting and be on this conference call. Then all of a sudden, you don't even get any of your three big rocks, your three vital priorities onto your schedule at all. The big lesson is here, you've got to get your three big rocks, your three vital priorities on your schedule and accomplished before any small priorities or any little task nuances or anybody else asking for your reaction at any point throughout the day. So hopefully you'll remember that. The three big rocks go on the calendar and they get done before the small rocks, the sand, or the water dilute you from being able to be productive. Okay? So, what are the big rocks in your life? A project that you want to accomplish, time with your loved ones, your faith, your education, your finances, some cause, teaching or mentoring others. Remember to put these big rocks on first or you'll never get to them at all. The key to all this is three words. You ready to write these down? Okay, here's number one. Preparation. That's number one. You ready for number 2? Preparation. And here's number 3, okay? Make sure you get this one down. You guessed it, preparation. Your life will be as you plan it and prepare it to be. There are several ways to look at your big rocks, okay? At this point, I've already taken you through your success vitals, which includes your vital 3 functions and your vital 3 priorities. These are the things you have to get into your jar before you try to put anything else inside, or they won't get in at all, okay? That's the first key. I want to address another 3, big 3, okay, or big rocks in your week, okay? In my Living Your Best Year Ever program, the Weekly Achievement Management System asks for you to decide what are the 3 most important meetings or appointments or engagements of that week. This is super important. Here's what happens to most people. They wake up Monday morning and they immediately get sucked into the vortex of responding to emails, phone calls, office drop-ins, daily firestorms, and then they rush off to an important presentation or a client meeting or prospecting appointments or even key phone calls that they need to make. Because they never stopped to identify the 3, not 10, not 20, but the 3 engagements that are the most important all week, to then isolate them and properly prepare for those, they end up at all those engagements unprepared, harried, and deliver less than world-class performance, thus end up with mediocre results at the end of the week. And what's worse, they miss the big opportunities to really advance on their goals by being excellent in the few moments that really mattered. It's like this. You're like a kicker for a championship team. You're in the Super Bowl, and it's this week. You have 3 kicks that are going to determine the success or failure, victory or defeat for the entire game. Heck, the entire season. No, your entire career as everybody watches. Everything else that you do in life that week will be insignificant, non-memorable, and maybe mostly a distraction. But those 3 kicks will make or break your career. How important would it be for you to properly be prepared? Prepared physically, prepared mentally, and prepared psychologically. That's how you need to view your week. So, what are your 3 Super Bowl winning or losing kicks each week? Isolate them. They are the 3 most important meetings, calls, or engagements that your performance will contribute to the success or mediocrity of the outcome of your week. Then, 1, prepare. 2, prepare. 3, prepare. Let me give you some tips on preparing. With the internet and the way that social media has connected us all and has given everyone a forum to share not only what's going on in their professional lives, but also their personal lives, one way to prepare for important meetings or phone calls or presentation is to do some research on the people that you will be meeting with. There's a whole plethora of really valuable insights and information on most everyone on the planet at the touch of your fingertips. I have what I call my VIP profile sheet. Before each important meeting, I have my assistant fill out a VIP profile for each key person that I will be meeting with that day. I learned this from working with some really high-level, powerful people. Before each meeting, they were handed a brief by their administrative staff. It had the essential background, key preparation information about the people involved in the meeting, and a pathway of suggestions to the key objectives. So when they walked into the meeting, they could connect with the people in the meeting on a personal level. That was amazing. And then they were able to get right to the heart of the issue and accomplish their main objectives way faster and with incredible ease and grace. This is a masterful strategy. You'll be amazed at the influence and impact that you can have when you identify the things that you know about them and their family personally when you're connecting with people. I will share with you my VIP profile sheet if you'd like to see it. It's an Easter egg found only by those who made it here inside this video with me. The password to unlock this treasure is MOTOR. Go to insaneproductivity.com/treasure and on Easter egg 5587, put in the password MOTOR. Okay, let me outline a 5-point plan to prepare for a highly productive day. Okay, this is what I do. Number 1, plan tomorrow today. As Brian Tracy said, plan your day the night before. This is an important and many times a not so easy thing to keep a strict discipline with. What I do is before I shut down at the end of the day, the last thing I do by routine is review and complete the plan for the following day. The entire process takes less than 10 minutes. What you don't want to do is wake up the next morning and then figure out what you should be doing. Chances are the rest of the world will have figured it out for you, and they and it will be in control of your day instead of you. You will be reacting instead of creating. Let me take you through that simple planning process, as it is the key to brilliant execution is always brilliant planning. That takes us to number 2, okay? Review or establish, if you don't already have, your big 3. These are your top 3 goals for the year. Not 100 goals, not 10 goals. It's critical that you focus them down to just your big 3. The most important goals, those are the 3 which, if you accomplish them, would undoubtedly create your best year ever. This review and focus process is important to calibrate and align point number 3, which is identifying your 3 MVPs, the 3 most valuable priorities. This associates to what we call the 80-20 rule, right? The Pareto principle. Those few activities that are worth 5 to 10 times the value of all the rest of the task combined. Don't fall prey to the temptation to start with what's fun and easy. Rather, isolate what might be hard but most necessary. Super competent people know exactly what they should be doing and working on. They are driven by an intense focus. Jim Collins said, if you have more than 3 strategic priorities, you don't have any, right? I say, if you have more than 3 goals, if you have more than 3 vital functions, you don't have any. All right, number 4. Now that you have your 3 MVPs, then take your calendar for tomorrow and chunk it up. This is where you block out chunks of time to work on your MVPs, right? The big rocks in your life. What doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. During these chunks, incorporate the learnings that you've already picked up, right? Put yourself in a bubble of silence. Turn off your phones, your email, your Facebook, your Twitter, or anything else that can reach you. Also, shut your door. You don't need to have an open door policy all the time. There's a time for intensely focused, undisrupted, productive work. I physically put a sign on my door that says when I will be available next. This way, if somebody comes looking for me, I'm not just simply unavailable, it's clear when I will be available next. No problem. You might want to also clear everything away from your peripheral vision that might tempt you with a distraction during your jam sessions. And many times, I have to actually leave my office or my home office and go somewhere else quiet to do my jam sessions, a place where I cannot be reached for a while and don't have any tempting distractions around me. I'm amazed at how much creative work I can get done when I separate myself from my normal environment, which is loaded full of distractions and devices and temptations, okay? Now that you have your big 3 goals reviewed, your 3 MVPs aligned to them, and your time chunks allocating to execute on those MVPs, now we can discuss what to do tomorrow. Number 5, the very first thing you do when you enter the office. Don't check email, don't sort your mail, don't review the morning news. The very first thing you do, the only thing you do, is lick your chops and eat the frog, as Brian Tracy would say. Take the most important priority of the day, the number 1 MVP, and eat it first. Spend 90 minutes in your bubble of silence doing nothing but executing with complete and uninterrupted focus. Your most important priority for 90 minutes straight. No more, no less. If you do this, you will get more done. And more importantly, more of what is important to get done than most people will get done in 2 to 3 days of 12-hour days in the office. Again, the 5 points are: plan your day the night before. Number 2, review your big 3. Number 3, decide your 3 MVPs. Number 4, chunk it out on your calendar. And number 5, eat the frog. Your number 1 MVP first thing in the morning for 90 minutes. And you can refer to the daily productivity planning worksheet in your manual for the document that I use to complete this each day. Super simple, okay? It'll become your daily ally to get you well prepared and get you focused to get your big 3 rocks in the jar and on your schedule first. You'll be amazed at how much easier and insanely productive your day, your week, and your life will become when you get the big rocks in first, okay? You'll be able to deliver what? Yeah, insane results, insanely fast, sanely. Okay, well, I'll see you on the next video mentoring session.